So I keep trying to talk about Pisces energy and it feels confusing, which is giving me a cue. Spirit can be funny. So we're between eclipses. There was an eclipse on August the 12th. It was a total solar eclipse, also a new moon. And now we're in between that, going into the second eclipse because eclipses happen in pairs. The second eclipse is in Pisces at 4 degrees 54 arc minutes of Pisces, and that is a full moon. I'm going to have to do this in shorter snippets because it is confusing. And I feel like it's confusing intentionally because we are confused. First, I want to talk about the North Node and the South Node. Let's start there. An eclipse only happens when the full moon or the new moon is near that North Node or South Node. So, this eclipse happening at 4 degrees of Pisces is because the North Node just moved into 29 degrees of Aquarius. And it is close, so it is still an eclipse. It's a partial lunar eclipse, but it is an eclipse. And I know a lot of times when we talk about like the opposite, so if the new moon just happened in Leo, then the assumption would be that the next eclipse would be in Aquarius, but it's not because of the degree point of where the North Node is. Okay? The North Node was just in Pisces from January 11, 2025 through July the 26th, 2026. This is an individual energy as much as it is a collective energy, but I'm going to tell you what I'm sensing. I sense that people are questioning who is God? What is God? Where did God come from? How do we interact with God? Like I feel like there's a lot of questions around the energy of like spirituality and surrender into something that we're not sure about or we're questioning. Pisces, the sign of Pisces is the water. It's a mutable energy. It's energy that moves. It's also the last zodiac of the wheel, meaning it's like the end of winter before spring comes, right? So it is a major ending. And this is a full moon. It is going to be major endings. And it is asking and questioning and looking at the things that we have learned over the last 18 months. Where have we grown? Where are we able to take accountability? Where have we been able to surrender, to trust, to have faith over the last 18 months where that energy was very dominant? And when energy transitions in the sky, it brings us lessons and experiences for us to participate. It doesn't just hold us accountable or not give us the experience or visibility to things so then we can adjust. We definitely get the life experiences to match that adjustment so that we can be more in alignment with the frequency of what is, right? In my opinion. So the North Node in Pisces gave us individually, I will talk about like natal charts and where this may have fallen in your natal chart and where you've been asked to reach, because North Node is a reach. South Node is a comfort zone. South Node is like karma. It's where we fall into naturally. It's the energies that we're used to. And if the North Node was in Pisces over the last 18 months, the South Node was in Virgo. And Virgo was asking us to release. The South Node is saying you got to release this stuff, this baggage here, this energy here, so that you can stretch better into the North Node. Virgo is about the process. Virgo is very analytical energy. Virgo wants to think its way through things with all of the details. It's a perfectionism. It's like, okay, well, if you tell me the steps, then I'll follow the steps. And, Virgo is about, so in the South Node, it's like you have to release knowing what is happening. And we can't just think our way through shit because we don't really know. We're not really given visibility to all of the details to have a foundational understanding. But we are all connected to source. We are connected to like that body of water, right? We have the choice to like surrender into that. The problem I feel is that we change the body of water into like social media and we doom scroll and we we unconsciously collect information and thoughts and theories and other people's opinions about, how life should be, or how relationships should be, or how our children should be raised, or, we don't individualize the energy of like our own surrender, our own intuition. We kind of fall into like those that speak the loudest, then we trust that. Or those that have the best lives based on what we feel like a good life is, we trust that. So the Pisces lunar eclipse again is at 4 degrees of 4 degrees and 54 arc minutes. So 4 to 5 degrees. There's also importance in that, which is another conversation. A partial lunar eclipse. Okay, so this is when we have the sun and we have the moon full, and then the earth slides between them, and there is a shadow on the earth. And so it made me think about, like, what does that even mean, right? If a shadow is cast upon the earth, what does that mean? And I am still deciphering that, but I get this sense of the past. I also get this sense of like 3D reality, because I've always kind of felt like when the shadow is a good thing, like when you see your shadow, that means that you're still in a physical body and you're still like on earth, versus not having a shadow, which means that you're just a spirit. And so I feel like there are going to be things in our 3D realities that are released, right? Because this is a major ending. This is like the end of winter before spring comes. And I feel like we were just shown, and a lot of things were highlighted about what needed to be released from our authentic bodies and self and minds and thought processes with the solar eclipse. Just, I know it's a lot, because the solar eclipse happened in Leo, and it had Jupiter, the moon, Mercury, and the sun there highlighting a lot of light, a lot of light, and the south node. And the south node is a release point saying, okay, you got to release this. And now this full moon is another release point, but it's a release of the things that we have been collectively experiencing around faith and surrender and creativity over the last 18 months, where the north node was in Pisces. Pisces is very dreamy. Pisces, so I feel like there's going to be a couple things that happen. One, I feel like we're going to watch people fall into escapism. And low vibration can be like alcoholism, right? It can be like always intoxicated, never wanting to face reality, always wanting to live in this dreamy kind of state. A lot of Pisces rising, Pisces heavy people, placement people are drinkers, like are drug users, because they want to escape. They need that level of escapism. But there's this private inner world, this receptivity, this empathy. And I feel like because people are going to feel it so heavy, that we're going to watch a lot of people sink. And that our job is to try to hold people steady, give people faith, move people back closer to God by moving them back closer to themselves, by not judging them, by not trying to get them to fall into like this analytical, well, you got to do this to be that, you got to get this to get that, which is that Virgo energy. And I feel like we operate out of that because it keeps us safe, but we don't fucking know. You don't know, I don't know. All I know is what I learn and what I lean into and how God shows up in my life. I feel like it's our job to keep each other going, to teach each other what we know, what we've learned. I feel like God is an energy of love. I feel like Pisces is an energy of love when it is balanced, of faith, of trust, of creativity, like just of surrender. And I feel like that is important. But there's so much happening. So again, we're in between eclipses. The solar eclipse was in Leo. The partial lunar eclipse is in Pisces. The North Node has just moved out of Pisces. And we were being called to stretch ourselves. So where did that happen for you is the question. And there will be things released that no longer align with that. I love you.